In The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess, there is a secret cave that seems to be hidden away from the mainlands of Hyrule. The cave, that can be found deep within the grounds of the Gerudo Desert, has an opening that does not look like anything situated in the game. While looking at its entrance, we see that it is clearly inspired by the tombs of the Valley of the Kings in Egypt, and it has strange hieroglyphs scattered around the walls of it. These symbols look like swirls, yes, swirls again, and a fairy that seems to be hanging above a cup. What could possibly be in here that could tell us about these strange symbols? Well, let's get into it. The moment we step into this strange lair, more symbols are written on the walls, and a beautiful voice starts talking to Link out of nowhere.
Your power is a gift given only to those with confidence to wield it.
Whoever this voice is, we first have to investigate the room that we are in. The first thing we noticed is that the voice talked about the power of confidence, or courage to investigate and do things. The room has a hexagonal-like shape to it, and monsters are stuck within the room guarding a door. Swirls seem to be all over the place, the indication for wind. As to me, the swirl symbol means the word wind, but it also means time. Scribbles of text seem to be written on the walls that cannot be read, and strange scratch marks seem to flow down between the text, almost as if it's resembling a water stream like a waterfall. What is really interesting too is the fact that it has sun symbols with faces on them, which we have seen before in Ocarina of Time, where we have to shoot magical arrows on them to complete puzzles. The bow, an ancient weapon of the hero, shoots with the help of the wind, directing straight to Link again. But what haunts me the most is the door. While looking right at it, it seems to have a strange winged figure, almost like an angel, but that's not what I saw that made me interested into it. It's the circle surrounding the symbol. It's very hard to see and very easy to miss, but look closely. It's the symbol of Farore, the goddess of courage, the goddess of wind. Farore has the color of green, matching the outfit of the hero, and as the voice we heard earlier spoke about the power of confidence, we can say that this ties into the character of Link. But why Farore in particular, and not Din, the goddess of powers? We are in the desert after all. The location we are in is called the Cave of Ordeals, or the Cave of Trials in Japanese. The meaning of ordeal can mean multiple things, but in this case it means an ancient test to prove something, which makes sense with the word trial. But it can also mean hardships, something that is quite the ordeal to go through. When Link finally opens the door, another floor of evil creatures appears, having him to fight through their might to get into another door, and it feels that there is no end to it. Somebody surely must have quite the courage to go through this place. Fighting through the floors one by one, encountering the creatures of the darkness, he finally comes across a new floor, a large pool of water right in the center of the room. A strange mist hangs right above it, and Link touches the mist. Slowly, the fairy fountain theme starts playing, and a green long-haired lady appears with the wings of an angel. This lady welcomes Link to the Cave of Ordeals. She explains that she's the queen of all fairies within the realm of light, and because of the actions of Link, she will release fairies into the world of Hyrule, around the spring of Ordon, the village that Link originates of. After that, she tells Link that the only way for him to continue on is to have all the equipment that he could find throughout his journey, and with every few floors throughout the trial, she will release more fairies into the world. Finally, after the many fights throughout the trials, he finally managed to get to the bottom of the well. After managing to complete the trials, the Queen Fairy gives Link the Tears to the Kingdom, the Great Fairy's Tears. This sacred water has the power to replenish health, as that is what fairies can do with their magic. After being blessed by the fairy and even touched by her on the cheek, she brings him all the way back to the surface. Now, why was this fairy in the Gerudo Desert? To me, this fairy was first of all the Fairy of Winds, which is why she's green with the color of Furor. Back in The Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, Ganondorf has a speech moment where he says,
"My country lay within the vast desert. When the sun rose into the sky, a burning wind punished my lands, searing the world. And when the moon climbed into the dark of night, a frigid gale pierced into our homes. No matter where it came, the wind carried the same thing: death. But the winds that blew across the green fields of Hyrule brought something other than suffering and ruin. I defeated that wind, I suppose."
What this means is that the winds over the Gerudo Desert during Twilight Princess continued to blow while he was stuck within the Arbiter Grounds, as Wind Waker happens in a different timeline. Link, the hero of Twilight, was chosen by destiny to complete the sacred trials, as he was the only one with confidence to fight against the winds of death. Only Link, that carried the Triforce of courage, that came from a land of peace, of softness and hope, was able to withstand against the winds of death that the Gerudo could not. This is why the Queen of the Fairies was found in the desert, as she was the only embodiment left of the wind during the Age of Twilight. The ordeals of the trials, separating the Queen of the rest of the world, was that she was sad to continue living in Hyrule. During Link's journey, we encountered the Gale Boomerang, a mysterious item that apparently has a Fairy of Wind caught inside of it. This boomerang has a green crystal, the color of Furora representing wind, and not just that. When a tornado turns and spins, it will create the swirl symbolism. A crystal or gem within weaponry is not uncommon in The Legend of Zelda. Many examples exist, like the magical gauntlets that allows Link to pick up heavy items, the same thing as the bracelets. There are swords and shields that have gems in the middle, which could be religious or spiritual aspects of protection, but jewelry also have lots of gems in them. Even the Master Sword has the symbolism of a gem above the hilt of it. In Ocarina of Time, we also encountered 3 gems: Nehru's Love, Din's Fire, and Furor's Wind. What is strange, however, is that Nehru's Love, which is the blue gem, can be found in the Gerudo Desert, the same location the Fairy of Winds is in. So what my feeling is here is that these gems are swapped. What I mean is that during young Link's adventure through Jabu Jabu, he saved the Zora's princess Ruto, which is in love with Link. Zora's domain has the element of ice and water, which has the color blue and white. And also, the gem can be found behind Lord Jabu Jabu in the Zora's domain. To me, it only makes sense that these gems are not in the correct places, but that's just what I believe. If we have to believe that the Gale Boomerang is indeed a weapon that has a spirit of a fairy inside, then that means that many other equipment throughout the ages, like the Master Sword, can exist within the universe of The Legend of Zelda. To me, the Fairy of Wind is actually related, or might even be the same one, called Venus, also known as the Queen of Fairies. Venus comes from the game A Link to the Past, and she lives in the Pond of Happiness. The Queen, in an obvious, not so obvious coincidence, has the color green, which is the same color of the one in the Cave of Ordeals. And not just that, when you reach the end of the Cave of Ordeals and the Fairy Queen returns you to the surface, of all places that she could return you to, which most of the time people would say is in front of the entrance of the Cave of Ordeals, she sends you back to Lake Hylia, which is by that the same reference to the Pond of Happiness, which is also situated in Lake Hylia. The Hylians are considered to be the most magic-related tribe in the Legend of Zelda series, with the Sheikah being their guardians and their sorcerers. Before the events of Twilight Princess even happened, the Hylians had a very close relationship with the Gorons. The Gorons used to mine all sorts of ores and the like and trade them around the world, as these ores weren't edible by them as they tasted poorly, so they decided to sell them instead, which the Hylians used to love them for. With these ores, the kingdom managed to gain the ability to manufacture more items to use and sell. Rupees are the currency in the world of Hyrule, as some believe that these rupees have magical abilities and properties. I believe so as well. The colors represent their respected elements: green for wind, blue for water, red for fire, silver is for a small resistance of all the elements, purple is a mixture of blue and red, and gold being the highest resistant against all colors. I tried to make a little sense of it, but I guess this comes closest to these resistances. Now in Breath of the Wild, the powers of rupees was ultimately confirmed to be real, as the fairies there needed to drain the powers of these rupees in order to become fully awakened again. Now that I explained that this currency has magic, and why it is currency in the first place, because of its abilities, going all the way back to Skyward Sword with the ore called Rupee Ore, which also has a darker version called Rupor that eats away the magic of your rupees, I want to take a closer look to one of the most mysterious armors that was sold in the shop of Mr. Chutley's Fine Goods and Fancy Trinkets Emporium, the Magic Armor. Sold for over 1,000 rupees, clearly created by great blacksmiths. The ultimate friendship of Gorons and Hylians alike made this happen, but there's a lot more to this armor as well. When inspecting the armor and taking a close look up to it, the first thing we see is that it has 3 gems built into it. These gems are clearly green rupees, which means that this armor was created by someone that knew about the power of wind, maybe someone like Roru. The green color is also the color of Roar, or the color of courage. As the rupees are the magic force of this armor, it drains the rupees that Link owns in his wallet. Clearly this again proves the magic of rupees, kinda like batteries. The next part I want to look at is the large feather on top of the crown. This makes the armor confusing for the one looking at it, because around the crown it shows leaves instead. If we are talking about feathers, the rock feather is an item that appears quite frequently through the Zelda series, and it allows the owner to jump higher or further away. And it could also mean the feather of a bird, which links it with wind. In the middle of the armor, we see another very odd looking symbol that we might have seen already in this video before, which, if you have been watching this far, the winged creature symbol I showed at the doors of the Cave of Ordeals, and it also has a green rupee on it, connecting it to the Queen of the Fairies again. But here we are at the scene of the video that gave me goosebumps because through research I discovered something interesting. Our beloved Princess Zelda seems to have the same looking armor on, but it has the color blue instead, which talks about Nehru. So we have the Nehru for Zelda, and Link has Ferrore for courage. Is there an indication that Din might be in the game as well? I would say yes, but it isn't Ganondorf that has the armor, it is Zant. Zant has the red crystal of Din right in the middle of his armor. But as time progressed and the Twilight slowly created their own culture within the Twilight realm, the armor became corrupted too, as the Twilight long ago used to be Hylians themselves at one point in time before they got banished. If I have to say who made these armors, I would say that the Sheikah comes closest to creating this armor before they all vanished, and was given to the most important figures throughout Hylian history, but eventually the only armor that was left was the one created for the hero that died long ago, which is the Hero Shade. And as many years down the line, the armor was found by Mr. Chutley or anybody else he knew, and he tried to sell it for thousands of rupees because he knew it was important. It would explain how it got in the shop. It would explain why Zelda has the same armor on, as she is the highest ranked person in society of Hyrule, and how Zant was able to get his armor as most likely this armor was what he kept for hundreds of years before it became what we saw in the game. It could be said that maybe we were supposed to have 3 armors at one point, like what we saw in Ocarina of Time with the tunics, a blue, a red and a green one, as that sounds exactly the same. So, to end the video, I think it's safe to assume that the Queen of the Fairies is in fact Venus, or the inspiration of it. The Cave of Ordeals was in fact that same cave we found in Ocarina of Time, but the items given to us were swapped. The Gerudo feared the wind that hit their lands, which in terms of Link, it's what's guiding him. The power of wind matches the hero, the one fighting against Ganon, the one that hates the wind, the demon Gerudo King. The Gil boomerang, having a fairy inside of it, is a reference to the magical boomerangs we saw in the older games, but we can speculate that this was a leftover part for what was supposed to be Wind Waker 2. The magic armor, sold for thousands of rupees, was a leftover shield, as that is how it's actually called, magic shield in Japanese, for the hero Shade. As he passed away before the events of Twilight Princess, the other outfits were given to important figures of nobility after it was made by the Sheikah, and Hylians do not age very quickly, which would explain why Zelda had the armor on after many years of creation. I would say that once upon a time, the older king of the Twilight Realm wore the armor before Zant stole it, which would make sense if this armor was only given to figures of history. Hey everybody, here is Guy Legend. Sorry for the video that it took me so long. I had some personal stuff going on, and so it took me a long time to make this video. I do appreciate it if you've been watching it for so long, because the video was, compared to all my other videos, was quite long. I don't think I've ever done a long video like this. I think most of my videos are about underneath 10 minutes or something like that, unless it was the stream one when I was doing all the questions and stuff, like the Q&A, you know. So also I'm thinking still to do a Hero Shade video, so that might come up sooner or later. But it took me, because like I said, I had some personal issues going on, which I've been dealing with my whole life. So the thing is that it took me about 2 weeks or whatever to finally get this video done. So, and there might also be maybe some hiccups here and there in the video, I don't know, but that's usually the case with me making videos, because I'm not a professional, so I'm just trying to make the videos fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Feel free to subscribe, because I never ask that in my videos. I never really, I think I've like asked that twice or something, and that's pretty much it in all my videos combined. So I would ask you to subscribe to my videos, to my channel, I mean, if you want me to, or if you want to, sorry. And also, yeah, like, of course. But yeah, I don't really care about the likes. I care more about subscribers, simply because that way more people take you more seriously when you make videos and stuff like that. Because if you have only very small numbers, then nobody really cares. But if you have a lot of them, then it seems that you have got more to say for some strange reason. So yeah, so and that's pretty much it. That's all I've got to say. So like I said, thank you all for watching, and I hope I will see you in the next one. And I have no idea how long it's gonna take to have my new video up, but I'm just trying to have a schedule. Well, I do it every Thursday on for my time 3 p.m. but it might be a different time for you guys. But yeah, I'm trying to have that schedule going on. So, but it doesn't always, like, I can't always succeed in that part. I'm trying my best, and that's all I can do. So thank you all, and see you later. Bye.